Virgo, how are you? Happy June 2017. This is Dark Dove Tarot. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. I've changed up my reads a little bit. As you know, I always pre-shuffle. I'm going to throw that in there really quick. But I like to add a little more energy as we get started. My reads are now going to consist mainly on singles and anybody who is interested in finding out more about their ex or looking to reconcile, etc. Most of it will pertain to singles, but again, there will be quite a bit that will resonate with people who are interested in finding out about a past relationship. I will add some relationship information, but for the most part, it will be geared towards singles. Most of the people who've requested private reads or have sent me emails, etc., tend to be wanting to know about either their ex or, when they're going to meet somebody. So if that bothers you or you'd like me to add relationships back in, feel free to let me know. Any likes, subscribes, comments, private reads, donations, the information is in the special instructions. Again, I hope everybody's doing well. And let's get started for June 2017 for Virgo. All right, so we always start with a card coming into the month. Oh, Virgo, there you are. You've come back. So right off the bat, my first instinct is Virgos are feeling more like themselves, more like Virgos, maybe feeling like they're able to just be themselves without self-doubt, without anybody else kind of telling them how they should feel or shouldn't feel, etc. This is retreat. This is you kind of getting to know yourself again. So this tells me that, okay, I know we've talked a lot since like February, March about, possibly reconciling with your ex or finding your ex again, reaching out to them. And this tells me that some of you may have done that and maybe it didn't work out, or that some of you kind of needed to retreat from the outside world and really think about things. This is your way of saying, okay, I need time. I don't need any outside influences. I need to really think about this. This tells me that a lot of you singles may have even taken yourself off the market. And it has nothing to do with your ex. A lot of singles are just like, whoa, I need a minute. I need to clear the air here. I need some me time. Too many outside influences. Maybe you had a plethora of suitors that were, coming towards you or interested in, dating you, but you just didn't feel like a connection. And for some of you, a spiritual connection. So, and I'm not saying any particular religion. It was kind of crushing your soul. You didn't feel like you were able to be who you wanted to be or who you are. You couldn't really be yourself. You felt like you had to be somebody else to kind of, even interact with people. It feels like some of you were, putting on a brave face and really all you wanted to do was go home, sit on the couch, relax, and watch whatever you're into. Again, this tells me that you're coming into June doing that, still continuing on that path. A lot of you are, self-aware and just taking a deep breath. Maybe you're getting out in Mother Nature by yourself. Maybe you're taking a mini trip by yourself. It's like it's well-needed just rest and meditation or, whatever works for you. Even if it's, coffee in the morning and 5 minutes where you have absolutely no noise, absolutely no outside influences. You're really taking the stride to think about, what you want and get yourself back on like an even keel. I feel like a lot of you the past few months have just been up and down and up and down, and anxiety and depression and all sorts of things going on. And for those of you who are maybe separated or, thinking about the past or wondering about your ex, you just kind of let it go. And you really, I get messages from people who are like, well, I've tried and I get that. These reads are so general, you always need to check your sun, moon, and rising. You might find something there. But on top of that, this isn't, every piece of this isn't going to fit in with you, even though I know we want to, even when I do cards for friends or family or whatnot, it's like, you know, you're always hoping that you get all the best cards, right? Because nobody wants a shitty reading. But life doesn't work like that, right? It never does. Who flows through life on cloud nine? Nobody. So in essence, this card is telling me that some of you decided that you were going to wait. And like I was saying, I got messages from people who were like, you know, they were terrible to me and I did try. And I get all of that. Nobody's ever placing the blame that it's just your fault. But there are quite a few of you Virgos who are stubborn. Virgos stubborn? No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, and, you know, sometimes I think that you feel like you come across a certain way and maybe you don't. And that's not just Virgos. That can be anybody. But Virgos in particular are very valiant and they're very dutiful. And so I think sometimes you feel like in the emotional or the relationship aspect, you're that way too. But sometimes people don't want dutiful. Sometimes they want flat out romance, hearts, kisses, love. And sometimes you have a hard time showing that. So that may be off-putting because you're thinking, I'm doing everything possible. What's going on? And they're going, I want you to call and say, I'm sorry. So anyways, on top of that, I feel like some of you were in a situation where you needed to take a step back. You have done the work. You did do what you could. Maybe you have reached out to them. And now this Hermit is saying, you know, oh, well, you know what? It's me time. And Virgo, you're opening your June read as yourself. And that's fantastic because that's being true to you. And the Hermit represents Virgo, in case you didn't catch that. Catch what I was putting down there, right? All right. So the next card you have is often feelings. This is internal and this is either complicating or helping the situation. And you have the Queen of Wands and this person is fierce. So this is internal. So it's interesting because right now externally you're kind of escaping from the world. But internally you're like, bring it. I've got this. Whether it's, you know, I can be, you know, I can date a lot of different people and, you know, meet interesting people and I'll come up with creative ways to meet new people. I'm tired of the online dating. For singles, this is kind of like you have a passion. You want to meet new people and you're feeling confident. The Hermit doesn't, just because you need time away doesn't mean you're any less confident. In fact, you could be sitting here building your confidence because maybe all of this nonsense with this person you're pulling back and forth with, or all this stuff that you've been worrying about with this person that maybe you realized isn't a good fit, or maybe they're just not gelling with you right now. So you're like, hey, it's my turn. You're feeling this, you know, ferocity of the Queen. You're feeling like, you know, hey, I'm on fire. Like I have a lot to offer. And if you don't want it, you know, so what? And somebody else will. And for singles, this is all about, look, I need to find a better way because maybe the people that you're meeting, or maybe, you know, online dating sucks. Like, let's get real. Okay, yes, a lot of people have met people and you see that guy on TV and more marriages of whatever, okay? But majority of the people I talk to have had some real interesting experiences. I have myself. So, you know, I'm not going to say that it's perfect. And it can really be detrimental to how somebody feels about dating, especially if you're used to traditional dates and people who actually give a crap about other people, right? So you're feeling this confidence of wanting to meet new people, but this is telling me you're getting creative, right? So you're getting creative about how you're going to meet new people. What do you like to do? You're going to start branching out in those associations. Again, maybe you like to bowl. So you're going to do like a bowling meetup group. Maybe you're a gamer and you're going to meet other gamers. Whatever the case may be, there's an option for everybody, right? And I feel like you're kind of going, okay, I'm going to find other ways of meeting, you know, really cool people. For anybody looking to reconcile too, this is, you know, you're feeling kind of fierce and that's good. Well, maybe not reconcile, but you're like over your ex or whatever the case may be. You're separated. It's like done. And so technically you're single, but you still have them on your mind. This is a good place to be in. However, you know, make sure the Queen is kind of, you know, it's like, it's fire sign. Well, it's fire energy. And so the Queen is kind of like all or nothing. So you're kind of feeling like, I got this and I could do better than you. It should never be about doing better than anybody else, or because at one point you really loved that person or you cared about them, right? So you're kind of putting yourself down because you cared about them and loved them. So obviously it's not really them. It just meant that you guys didn't mesh. So again, it's good to have that confidence and whatnot, but don't base that on, you know, moving past somebody else. Base that on because you're a good person and you know that you deserve somebody good. The next card you have is going to be past relationships or traits. And you have the Seven of Swords. So that's interesting. I don't know if you got this in this past position last month or the month before, but I think you've had this in your past position before. So again, you know, this always relates to kind of everybody that I'm talking to in these reads. I always do the past position for everybody because, you know, we've all had past relationships. So it may resonate with you on your last one or 5 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever the case may be. So the Seven of Swords, excuse me, is all about manipulation, strategy. So this was somebody that potentially was manipulating you. It kind of brings back to, and I think I may have said this before to you or another sign in similar aspects. This reminds me of kind of like you're being dutiful and you're the hard worker and you're thinking everything's great, and they're not really communicating you on what they feel a lack of, and so they're manipulating the situation, making you think you're doing something right, and maybe they were cheating, or maybe they were just downright manipulative or deceiving. I mean, for some reason this rings cheating. I mean, you know, I don't know. Probably, I have no idea what the numbers are. I couldn't even throw one out there, but I'd say majority of us know what it's like to be deceived or been cheated on. But obviously this relationship is something that hurt deep. Now this card also screams of solitude in your past. So this tells me that maybe you took a break for a long time to kind of get past whatever it was you were needing to. But that solitude almost made you feel lonely, like despair, like depressed, like deep too, like dark, like you'll, you know, I don't know, like you'll never get back to a happy place again. And I feel like for a lot of you, this is somebody who was like strategic about it. Like they knew they weren't in this for the long haul and they took you for all you were worth, or they knew that they weren't in love with you and they fed you those lines up and down that they were in love with you. I don't see, however, this being the person that maybe is still on some of your minds. For anybody who's, you know, wondering about their ex or looking to reconcile or hoping to reconcile. This says it's something long ago. However, I'm going to warn you, Virgo, pay attention to the traits in this, because I get the sense that for some of you, you almost like this person or still think about them or let them keep this imprint in your memory, in your heart, because whoever this was that you loved so deeply at one point, right, made such a deep impression that when you meet people who kind of give you that happy feeling that you felt at some point in the past with this person who deceived you so badly, it's like an ignition starts and you think, here, oh, this is amazing. This is a feeling I've been missing. This is awesome. And then it's not, because you've been through that before. So somehow you're going to need to decipher how to turn that on and off. If this pertains to you, it reads strongly of you getting hopeful about somebody who may not necessarily be healthy for you. And that, I mean, that could go for a lot of people or a few people. But definitely this is kind of telling me that something in your past at one point felt really good, and then you found out you were being completely manipulated. The wool was pulled over your eyes. This person was strategically sick, almost just like sociopath. But at one point you felt really good in that relationship, and maybe for some of you, you're longing for that again, or you know, you found that again and now you've lost it. And remember the solitude afterwards, and remember like some of that depression. You don't want to delve in the past and make yourself depressed again. That's not what I'm saying. But remember how bad that felt, and you don't want to go back there. I don't think that's for a majority of you. I think for a majority of you, the person that you're longing after maybe was the complete opposite. They showed you the opposite of this person from your past, and therefore you're almost feeling emotional about them because maybe they were the first person who actually treated you right, and things just didn't work out. The next card you have is going to be your recent past, and that's going to be in the past, few weeks. Again, this was your distant past over the past, could be years. And you have the Devil. All right, so the past few weeks is telling me a few things right off the bat. So how I was talking about the Hermit, and you're kind of coming off of maybe you did try and reach out with them, and maybe you're feeling kind of ferocious inside of like, hey, I'm over you and I could do better, whatever. So the Devil is kind of telling me this is all about like jealousy, different things. So either you found out that you're done for good and the relationship is over and you're feeling kind of a jealous type situation. However, for a lot of you, I'm thinking that, and this is if you're wondering about your ex or reconciling or whatever, but I almost feel like a lot of you, this is you like going, you know what? I gave it a shot. I gave it a lot of shots. And I'm not doing this with you anymore. And maybe like they're getting jealous. Maybe the past few weeks, if you have had contact with them, you know what? I just like had this like gut punch in the stomach. No, you know what it is? If you've contacted them, they're trying to make you jealous. That's what I'm getting for people who are wondering about their ex or anybody. Like I literally am seeing now you've approached your ex for some of you and they're like playing the, oh, look, this person likes me. This person likes me. And you're like, screw you. Like, I'm not playing this game. I came back. Do you know how hard that was for me to put that effort into coming back and apologize and contact you? And now you're playing games? Now it's your turn. And that's even if you're willing to give them a chance. On a side note, the Devil also represents addiction, vices. So be careful. Make sure that you're not trying to cover anything up. You're not drinking a little heavier. You're not taking prescription pills heavier, whatever the case may be, to kind of self-medicate. I don't get the sense it's like major, drug addicts, addiction. Although, I'm sure I'm wrong. There are a few out there that are watching this. But for the majority of you, it may just be you're going out a little more, partying a little heavier than you have, which can develop into a problem. So you do need to watch that if you sense that you're doing that. This also tells me that maybe some of you, and for singles, this tells me actually that some of you, okay, there could be a few different things in this, but some of you are sober, or maybe just for religious purposes or whatever, you don't drink, you don't do those things, and you don't have a vice, so to speak. And so maybe what you've been meeting online, maybe that's why you've been kind of hermiting a little bit, is like, you're like, gosh, is there anybody who does not resort to going out and drinking? Is there anybody? And so I get this feeling that some of you are like, I need somebody who is kind of clean. Maybe some of you are sober and that's somebody that you need and you're just having a really hard time finding it. Or maybe, regardless of you being sober, maybe you do like to go out and have a drink, or maybe you do like to go out and, I don't know, maybe you smoke or whatever the case may be, but it almost seems like you're finding people are like 10 times more. So if you go to the bar and have 2 drinks, the people you've been meeting, if you're single, are like 10 drinks, 20 drinks, whatever, passing out, being dumb, basically. So there's a lot of possibilities here. I'm not really getting a clear signal on the Devil because it seems like there's so many things rushing in. But those are the majority of the feelings I'm getting on this immediate past. Now, again, this is, recent past, immediate past. So this is the past few weeks, maybe a month or two. So it could just be like a blip that, some of you have experienced with other people. For whatever reason, I feel like jealousy plays in here more. And if somebody's screwing with you and they're trying to play that game, then just be done with it. You don't need that crap. So the next card you have is going to be In Time, Future Possibilities. And this is over the next few weeks and few months. This doesn't necessarily end in June. And you have the Chariot. So, all right, I'm going to tell you right now that scream is like Cancer, because the Chariot represents Cancer, the sign. And for some of you, I feel like in the next few months, you may be dealing with Cancer. I don't know why that popped up immediately. Could be a water sign. It could be Pisces or Scorpio as well. But for some reason, it keeps shouting like lucky 7 because that's the 7. And you know what's even more interesting? I don't know why this is popping in my head, but I'm going to say it anyway. So you have the 7 here, which is Cancer. And then you have the Hermit here, the Chariot 7. And then you have the Hermit here, which is 9, right? And 9 plus 6 equals what? It's just interesting to me. Or sorry, 9 plus 7 equals what? It equals 16, right? And 1 and 6 is 7. I don't know why that came to my mind, but I don't know. Maybe you're meeting a Cancer. Maybe you're meeting a water sign. Or maybe your ex is a Cancer or a Scorpio or Pisces. And for some reason, I just got that really strong feeling because all of a sudden the like numbers were illuminated on the 2 cards for me. And it was like the 9 and 7. I was like, well, 9 and 7 is 16 and 1 and 6 is 7. And I was like, oh, could represent you're going to meet, if you're single, you're going to meet the person of your dreams in 7 weeks, 7 months. Could be 7 days, although I'm thinking that's a little optimistic. But because like I said, a lot of you are in that kind of taking care of you headspace. And when you're there, you kind of shut everything else off. But going forward, the Chariot represents balance, self-control, learning who you are. So this journey of the Hermit, I think, will continue into ID, like self-ID, self-identification, figuring out who you are. And that Hermit is going to kind of translate into, the Chariot represents like the devil and the angel, right? To a certain extent. There's other meanings for the Chariot as well. Sometimes they're entangled and they can't move because obviously you can see the 2 dragons are 2 different colors. If you get them to move in the right direction or the same direction, the Chariot moves fast. If you cut one of them off, you can still move the Chariot, but you can't move as fast. And then it's interesting because this is kind of like, I feel like the next few months you're going to be going, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? So for singles, some of you may be second guessing your options a lot, going, I really like this person, but how much do I want to put into it? Or the opposite, maybe you're going to like somebody and you're going to jump right on and you're going to realize that you need to slow down. I'm going to bring up couples here because this tells me that some Virgo couples may be going through some challenging times and you need to untangle those 2 dragons and to get the Chariot to move forward, because right now it feels like in a relationship, you're like at a standstill. Maybe it's like a standoff and you can't figure out what you want to do. And if you don't untangle those dragons and get them moving together, you're just not going to get anywhere. And that could be the same for singles too. You know, if you want to put some plans in motion as far as people you want to meet or dates, things have not run smoothly for you, Virgo, in the dating section for the most part. So put some plans of action in place. You know, new ways to meet people, changing it up a little bit, dating different people than you normally would, you know, changing your attitude on certain things as far as dating, because maybe what you're going to find as the Hermit is that, you know, you really do need to look at things a little differently, maybe add a little emotion. So again, and this is about duality as well. So maybe that's reflecting Virgo opening up that emotional side we talk about a lot and really showing both sides when you're dating. For people looking to reconcile, it's going to be the same as like couples. You're going to have to figure out your differences and you're going to have to make it work to make that Chariot move. If you can't figure that out, you're going to stand still. So one of you is going to have to say, okay, I give, enough is enough. Or you're going to have to be able to compromise. Again, I really think, Virgo, that this is somebody, like this is telling us that you're going to meet somebody and you're going to be kind of entangled and you're going to move the Chariot forward together, but it's going to take some work. And I really strongly feel it might be a water sign. And again, I'm thinking that 7 might be your number. So I guess we'll see. Could be July, because July is 7 and July is the month of Cancer, which is ironic. Okay, I'm surprising myself and hopefully you can keep up with me right this second. So Your distant future, I think, looks very good. But you're going to be a little cautious, and that's okay. The next card you have is your immediate future. So over the next few weeks, then you have strength, which is perfect. So strength is basically what it stands for. It's strength. But it's strength to be, like confident, but not in an arrogant way. It's about, so the next few weeks, you're going to come out of this hermit stage and you're going to feel like, I've got this, which is good. Not like this, I've got this. Not like I'm better than them. You're going to feel like that doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't run my life. I'm going to look forward to this future. Let's see who's coming. Let's see, what type of chariot they're driving, and go from there. Strength is about curiosity. So the next few weeks, you're going to be back in the game for singles, but you're going to be just looking, kind of feeling things out, being curious about different people, different ways of meeting people. Somebody's going to spark your interest. That's definitely, this card is all about somebody's going to make you feel good. And you know what, Virgo? I feel like for some of you, you really need to just feel good. And maybe you need somebody to light that fire a little bit and help you feel good. So the next few weeks, strength is just really positive. And it's interesting because you have a lot of major arcana and you have 7, 8, 9. Anyways, but you can't go wrong with strength because it's not a conceited, I have power. I'm illuminating from within and I'm feeling good about myself. And it's a patience. Okay. That's what this card represents more than strength to a certain extent, because it's called strength, right? So you can figure out the obvious, but with patience, it's about having patience with yourself and having patience with other people and turning a new leaf and leaving haste and having to control everything behind and just letting things happen the way they need to happen. The next card you have is always going to be your future external factors. So these are things that could be happening around you or things that are tangible. And you have the Magician. Okay, so interesting. You have 2 hands with the infinity symbol on them, right? And still major arcana. So you have a lot of major arcanas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so the Magician is also an amazing card. Now this one is about not necessarily power, but more about like control and versatility. So you've decided that things got so out of control with everything you had to go through before. And so a lot of you are thinking, how can I take control without doing control, without steering the wheel for both of us? How can I embark in a serious relationship with somebody or meet somebody without me having to have that dutiful, hardworking, me always being in control? And maybe that's what it is. It's because you've always been so conscientious of making sure everybody is taken care of but you, that now you're kind of looking at the duality of how do I take care of myself, still take care of my partner, make sure their emotional needs are met on top of that. And this is about your ability, because you are capable. Virgos, we've always known you're capable. Nobody's ever doubted your capability. I think though, sometimes when you let the chaos of the past, or if you're looking to reconcile, sometimes if you sweat that on a regular basis, it makes you chaotic. So take the hermit ride. You know what? That doesn't mean that you're not going to ever be with that person again. It doesn't mean that it has to be negative. It doesn't mean that you're never going to reconcile. What it means is stop focusing on that and focus on yourself. Be the hermit. Stop focusing on the other person. Who cares? If they denied your emails 20 times, so what? Move on. But don't move on as I'm better than. Move on and say, you know what? If we get back together, great. But if we don't, oh well. I'm the Magician. Notice that hand has every single sign on it, because right now you have the ability to make your future. You have the ability to act however you want to be. If you want to act like a Gemini, which represents lovers, you can do that. If you want to act like, you know, whatever card or whatever sign that you feel connected to, or maybe your sun, you know, or sorry, your moon or rising sign, maybe you need to be more in tune with that personality of yourself. Whatever the case may be, the Magician is saying, hey, this is all about you connecting with people. This is all about you being able to, you know, start fresh, start new. This is your time to decide what you want and go from there. And if you're single, this is really about you taking chances and liking it or leaving it, saying, you know what, I've got time for this, but I don't have time for this. So I'm not playing games. If you're playing games, I'm not with it. But hey, no hard feelings, go play games with somebody else. And it's not mean-spirited. It's just, I'm in control here. I know what I want, and I'm going to find what I want, and I'm not going to let the past muck it up or decide which direction I'm going. You're going to, you know, you're going to be open to basically everything, is what the Magician is saying. And you're going to find whatever you're looking for. This is all about options and making decisions, but not being forced to anything. Nobody's forcing you to do it. You're open to whatever you need right now. And, you know, Virgo, this is definitely what you've been needing for a while now. On a side note, this is also huge about like connections for jobs and whatnot too. So if you've been worried, although Virgos tend to be very hardworking and very strategic in their jobs and whatnot, but the Magician for future external factors is always a positive on the work front. So it could be that you have more control, you've been promoted, that kind of stuff at work. You know, your abilities on heightened awareness right now, and you're connecting with you know, business partners, or maybe you're making more connections if you're in sales, etc. But had to throw that in there. The next card you have is future internal factors, and you have the Knight of Swords. Okay, so this is internal, and this is you saying, look, I don't want confrontation or hostility, because this card can be like that, but because the rest you're reading is not hostile and not coming across as aggressive, this is telling me that a lot of you are just being logical, saying, hey, you know what? If my ex is off doing whatever, the logical conclusion is it's not going to work, but I'm going to meet somebody amazing. So if you're looking to reconcile or thinking about your ex, this may be the eye-opener of, you know, logically, and you feel like being like, hey, you know what the heck? Here I am reaching out to you, telling you how I feel, trying to open up, and you're being the devil. You're treating me like, oh, well, this person wants me, and this person wants me, or this person. No. And you're going, And what you really want to do is scream and say, this is screwed up. But instead, you're going to be the Magician. And you're going to be like, you know what? Peace. It's been great, but I'm not. You've got what I want, or you've got, you know, you want what I've got to offer, or I'm moving on. And I think a lot of you are going to be direct about it. And you're just going to be like, look, I'm not playing games with you anymore. I'm done. Like, yeah, I may have hurt you. And yeah, you know what? I was stubborn. And you know what? But I've played my side over and over in my head. I know where I messed up. I'm telling you where I messed up. And now you're treating me like dirt and you're taking advantage of the situation. And Virgo, don't. Like, that's it. End it now. If that's it, you've messaged them. You've done what you could. And they're retorting like that. Don't. And don't even waste your time with the hostility or directness or being confrontational if you don't need to. Just peace out. See you later. For singles, this is actually about being direct as well. This is telling me same thing. Like I said, I think a lot of you retreated or just took time off, took a break from dating because you didn't want to play the games. And now you're going to do meetup groups where you're actually directly meeting people. You're being able to confront them, not in a hostile way or anything like that, but being able to confront them face to face and actually meet them. And then when you do meet them and you like somebody, it's going to be kind of like, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. This is what I want. This is what I don't want. And you're not going to expect anybody to be perfect or have every trait you want or to be on the exact same plane with you. But again, this Chariot is going to be like the devil and the angel. Maybe like they're the workhorse this time and you're more emotional and you guys balance each other out. Or maybe you're still the dutiful Virgo, we all know you are, and you're going to balance somebody else out who appreciates more. And, you know, it's going to be more of a give and take with the Chariot. It's going to be more of a, you're going to take care of them, but they're going to take care of you this time, Virgo, too. The next card you have, the last two cards, are going to be your hopes and fears and the outcome for June specifically. So your hopes and fears are going to be the 7 of Coins, and your outcome for the month is going to be Temperance. So actually, I think that's really good. I think, Virgo, you've needed this read for a while. So 7 of Coins is all about like choice and risk, reward. So I think for a lot of you dating, again, you're figuring out what your risk and reward is going to be. You're assessing the situation, and that's what 7 of Coins represents. Here's you, and here's somebody you're potentially dating or somebody you're potentially going to meet, and you're going, hi, I like you, and hi, I might like you, but you're not ready to like completely intertwine yet. And I don't think June is going to be when you do it. I think maybe July or 7 weeks, 7 months, etc. But this tells me that you're reaching out and you're assessing people. You have choices. That's the thing too. I think that you've kind of felt like trapped in this whole dating game and online dating world, and you just didn't feel like you, or like you could meet anybody genuine. And you're going to, and you want to, but you're also going to be very careful to make sure you're looking out for red flags. Make sure you're also taking care of you, which you've needed to do for a long time. But you've been kind of, you know, dating and just hoping that things were going to, you know, turn around, and it's been exhausting. So now you're looking at, you know, different partners or different companions, or, you know, a lot of you also are looking at, and this could be work-wise, risk reward. Some of you might be changing jobs or taking a promotion or something like that, and this is going to be more about business for some of you. But again, for singles, I think you're on the right path. You're going to start connecting with people, and you feel ready to connect, but you're going to be very careful. You don't want to be in the situation you were in before. You don't want to be with anybody manipulative. It's like you're going to still be yourself. You're going to want them to be themselves, and then you're going to kind of figure out how to connect that's going to be secure and stable for both of you. For, you know, anybody wondering about their ex, I kind of see the same thing. You've either said, you know what, see you later, maybe we'll meet in the future sometime, and you're really going, hey, you know, what if I just say screw it? What's the worst that can happen if I just say, you know what, I'm done, I don't want to do this? What's the worst that can happen? You're already like in that misery state, or you've been there, because I don't think you're there now. You're really coming out of it. You're showing up in June as yourself, which who better to be than your freaking self, right? But you also have choices to make, and for some of you it's going to be to try and reconnect, and for some of you it's going to be to just stay separated for a while and just see how it goes, right? If it's meant to be, do you really have to rush it? Do you really need the answers now? No, right? And the outcome for the month is Temperance, which is great. Another major arcana, which have shown up all over your read, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, you know, more than half your read has been major arcanas, which is good. You're kind of going through some important cycles right now. Temperance is all about balance, compromise. So, you know, if you're dating, you are going to be balancing some work towards the end of the month. It seems like for some of you, work might get heavier, or you're going to have to figure out how to balance. You're also going to be balancing yourself, because again, this Hermit, that you're learning to be yourself again, and learning to retreat from the outside world and not, you know, not buy into some of the crap out there. Temperance is kind of allowing you to balance yourself in all aspects of your life. And this is moderation for anybody who possibly has been partying more, drinking more, kind of like, screw it, I'm gonna, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, do drugs or take prescription pills or whatever. You're going to have to realize this month that everything in moderation. Otherwise, you're going to be a mess with or without, you know, a partner. This is also, again, about compromise. So this tells me that for singles, you're going to realize that it's going to be a compromise. It's going to be kind of like a dance. They're going to go one way, you're going to go one way. And you're not going to meet somebody right off the bat who's perfect, who does everything you want them to do and more, and agrees with everything you want, and whatever the case may be. So you're learning this month that, okay, they don't have to be perfect, and they're not going to expect me to be perfect, but I have to show them too that I'm vulnerable, and that, you know, I want to try new things, and I want to meet new people. And I think for singles, it's just really learning to accept people and they accept you. And I think that's an excellent outcome. I really feel like you're learning a lot about yourself this month. And for anybody looking to reconcile or you know, possibly wondering about their ex, it's the same thing. For anything to move forward, you're going to have to balance things out, and you're going to have to be able to compromise. So whoever's being stubborn in this, you know, if it's your ex being that devil and playing the jealousy game or whatever, don't, just move on. Say, you know what, I can't take this anymore because, you know, it's gone on too much, and right now I need to find peace within myself. And you're not helping with that, and obviously right now is not the time. If you have reached out to somebody, and let's say you did give it time the past few months, and that's where you're coming in as a hermit, you're kind of like, all right, I'm just going to let things take its course. I'm not going to jump back on the dating bandwagon, but I'm not going to focus all my time on them either. Temperance is telling me by the end of June, there's a possibility that you might meet that. You might reach that compromise. You might meet halfway, and you might be able to figure out a balance. Maybe that's the start. So maybe the 7 is July for both singles and for people looking to reconcile, because maybe you're taking June to find yourself, and know that you can live without that other person, but then maybe in July they'll have calmed down whatever stuff they're up to, and you guys can come together and start the process if it's something you really want. So Virgo, much better reading, I think, this month. I'm sure I will hear some differentiating opinions, but I can't wait to see you next month. Have a great June, and I'll talk to you soon.